As you're seeing that in the chapter chemical reaction, basically lots of chemical types of the chemical reaction we are studying. In this topic that is you're seeing over here is actually based on the energy involved in the chemical reaction. So we're going to differentiate the different chemical reaction on the basis of energy that is involved. Now, one thing you need to understand over here is what is basically energy. Energy is a kind of thing that makes something happen, or it helps to do a work in the terms of physics. But the chemistry in the terms we will say either it will change something if it is losing the energy, or element or the compound will gain something if it is gaining the or losing the energy. Let's see how it is happening. So first you are seeing in this change of energy in the first reaction, that is exothermic. Now you can see exo and then thermic. Thermic means heat. Exo means release away from or apart from. Okay, exo means. That is why we say exosphere, if you remember. Okay, the sphere at the last of the Earth atmosphere. So what is meaning of this? Heat. Exo means release, means heat is releasing. So when a reaction is happening and the heat is being released during the reaction, that is what is known as exothermic reaction. So one thing you need to understand that exothermic reaction, whenever it will happen, it will always produce heat. At the product side, you will always find heat, certain amount of heat. For example, suppose you're just sitting in front of the wood logs in the winter, and wood log just catch the fire. So what it gives you first? It gives you heat. At the same time, you will see the smoke is coming, going upside. So that is what carbon dioxide. So wood is nothing but a made of organic compound, which is almost having the carbon in it. Okay. And we all people are made up of carbon. Organic things are, the living things are made up of carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen even. But mostly this is the CH bond element are the organic element. And there is a separate chapter in the chemistry in the class 10th, that is organic chemistry, and very interesting it is. Okay, so understand this one. So when you are sitting in front of the wood logs, what is happening? You are observing that the heat is coming and carbon dioxide producing. So means in the product always will be heat in the exothermic. Always remember, exothermic, there will be heat. They will not write heat, they will write this symbol, delta. Okay, in this case, symbol of the heat is there. So in this case, what is happening? Carbon is burning in the presence of oxygen, producing carbon dioxide, but as well as heat is releasing from the chemical reaction. So this kind of chemical reaction we will say exothermic. Exo means release and thermic means heat. So the name uh, actually keep the definition hidden in the name. Exothermic reaction, a reaction in which the heat is being released. Okay. So for another example, you can take the CaOH2 as a very prevalent example. If you go into a little, you go back into the yesteryears, just 10 years or 12 years back. So the people was calling not painting, they were calling puchada or something else. Okay, they were calling the painting. So what was there? The people were applying. I will say in the simple Hindi, they were applying chuna. Okay, and if you have seen how they are preparing the chuna, the lime, they are preparing the lime. They are bringing the CaO in a packet form. In the plastic packet, it was there. And when they are just dipping into the water, suddenly start boiling it. Why? Because when it reacts with H2O, it produces so much amount of heat and it start boiling and produce CaOH whole twice, the lime that we apply on pan, the pan people eat. Okay, that's simple, same chemical, CaOH whole twice. Okay, so this forms, and but before it forms, it produces lots of heat at the same time. So means what? It releasing the heat, a lot amount of heat, that is exothermic. Whenever the heat release a lot, it will be exothermic in this case. Now see this one, the second type you are seeing, endothermic. Endo means to absorb, to keep hidden, to take something in, or to retain something. That means endo. Okay, that means endemic. Means a kind of disease is particular places. Means at the same places it is. It is not spreading outside of the place. endemic we say. So that is basically uh, what we call this epistemology, that understanding the root word of English. Okay, now I'm not going to go into the English. See this one, Indo and thermic. We know heat. What I said, Indo means to take in, so then means heat is getting absorbed in this case. Now, like you are seeing this CuH2SO4. When you apply the Cu copper wire and you're dipping the copper wire into H2SO4, very nice reaction it is. Okay, and you're applying a little amount of heat, it will start boiling, then it will produce CuSO4 and H2O. CuSO4 basically copper sulfate. We sometimes call it blue vitriol if it is having 5H2O water with it. Okay, so it will form the CuSO4 in this case. Why? Because it is taking heat. Now, many times a student get confused between by seeing the chemical reaction, they don't understand this is endothermic or exothermic. Always remember, whenever the exothermic is there, at the product side you will find the heat. This is the product, this is the reactant, this is the product. At the product side you will find the heat, but in endothermic you will find the reactant side or this side, the symbol of heat. Either they will say plus heat, either they will write over here, or mostly cases they write over here. So that is, you can easily understand it is an endothermic reaction. So what is happening? Copper is, we are boiling into the H2SO4, then it produces CuSO4 plus H2 gas, it will evaporate. Okay, so if you just let a matches stick and you bring it a little closer to that going H2, it will create a pop sound and it will burn very dangerously. Pop, pop, pop. This kind of sound will come. Okay. Now see this one, CaCO3, the calcium carbonate you are having. Now when you're heating it, it will again form CaO and CO2. Again form this calcium oxide, and with the help of heating, means what is happening here? This reaction is actually happening when it is absorbing the heat. When it is absorbing the heat. And what is happening in this case? Heat is being releasing. And in this case, heat is being absorbed. So what is the idea basically these two convey? This basically in the heat, it will gives the amount of heat, it will give the heat and it will take the heat to react. Okay, but one thing you always remember, the chemical reaction basically directly involved with the energy exchange. If there is no energy exchange is happening, no chemical reaction will happen. Always remember, whenever the chemical reaction is happening, either it will be exothermic or endothermic. There has to be change, certain amount. Either you're not feeling the temperature, there is a certain chemical reaction happens. When you don't feel the temperature, but still, there's a difference of temperature will happen. And the difference of temperature, temperature signifies what? A level of heat, and heat is what? A kind of energy. Now, the same exothermic reaction could be divided into two parts, photochemical reaction and electrochemical reaction. What is the photochemical reaction? Actually, the same endothermic reaction. What happens in this case? They don't take the form of heat, they don't take the form of light. Okay, so when you apply the light on AgNO3, it will form Ag plus N2 plus O2. It is actually decomposing. It is decomposing into 2-3 amount. Okay, and what is happening over here? The oxygen we apply, two oxygen they combine in the presence of UV ray, they form ozone. They are forming the ozone, and this way, ozone actually helps to protect us from the UV ray, but oxygen also play the role because it is forming the ozone all the time and taking the UV ray in. Okay, so in this case, you get the idea what is the photochemical reaction? A kind of reaction which is happening because of the light. One of the very common example of photochemical reaction is photosynthesis. What is the photosynthesis? Well, 6 CO2 plus 12 H2O comes into the contact of the light, that means sunlight, and chlorophyll then forms C6H12O6. This is the reaction you remember? So what is actually happening over here? It is taking the heat. Taking the heat. Which kind of reaction it is? Endothermic. So in this case, what is happening? Both of them taking the heat in this case. What is kind of this? Endothermic reaction. Now what kind of reaction is this? Tell me. C6H12O6 plus O2, they are breaking down CO2 plus H2O, 6CO6 and 6H2O. Now balance. What kind of chemical reaction it is, or what kind of process it is? It is a respiration. When oxygen we take and we break down the food, that is basically carbohydrate over here. So it is breaking down and producing what? Carbon dioxide plus one thing produce also gives you energy. Now it is giving energy. What kind of reaction it is? Endothermic. So photosynthesis is basically endothermic, and respiration is basically exothermic. Very easy idea. Now, what kind of reaction it is? Photochemical reaction. It is a kind of reaction where the heat actually it is absorbing in the form of light, in the form of now one thing you remember, the endothermic reaction, we don't talk about the heat all the time. If it is absorbing the energy of any kind, the energy are the lots of types of energy are there. You might have read in the physics: electrical energy, mechanical energy, kinetic energy, yes, thermal energy, nuclear energy, lots of energy are there. Okay, so any kind of energy they are keeping inside, taking in, absorbing, then it will be endothermic. Now see over here, it will be endothermic or not, we will see electrochemical reaction. What is happening over here? We are taking an NaCl in the form of dissolved form or soluble form. When we apply the electricity, here the electricity we are applying, you see this heat is applying here. Here electricity applying, here light is applying on the arrow. Okay, or the plus light we can say, or the plus electricity we can say, or plus heat we can say. So it is a type of endothermic as well. So what is happening? Electrochemical reaction is taking the electrical energy and dividing into Na and Cl. So these are the type of endothermic reaction. So what is the electrochemical reaction? The chemical reaction which happens because of the electricity, we say electrochemical reaction. And the electrochemical reaction basically a type of endothermic reaction which is not mentioned in your book, but you need to understand because the concept is very clear. Whenever the energy, a reaction takes the energy, that becomes the endothermic reaction. And whenever the reaction gives the energy, it becomes exothermic reaction. Like respiration, we have heard. Respiration, what happens when we take the oxygen? It breaks down the carbohydrate into carbon dioxide, water, and also gives us the energy. So the idea is basically clear over here. But the difference between the exothermic and endothermic, you can differentiate. What is the exothermic reaction? Here the heat evolves. Here the heat absorbs. This reaction ends up producing heat. This reaction cannot happen if you not apply the heat. This reaction, in order to do the reaction, we need to have the heat. In order to do this reaction, we don't need to have the heat. It will give you the heat. Okay. Here the amount of heat, if it is giving, that means energy level is decreasing. Here the amount of heat is taking, that means energy level is increasing. So get the idea. So you can differentiate between this, and you have understood the chemical and electrochemical and photochemical reaction, both of the reaction. And that is the last topic of the chapter. And hope you have understood this one. And if you have any problem, I'm again saying, I will highly appreciate if you will reach me and contact with me, or if you are having any problem, then do contact us and we will love to answer you. And I will highly appreciate it if you are coming with the problems. Thank you so much.